Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up towards Stockholm again, and we're going to continue on with this winter series of Swedish beers that I've been doing for you. We're starting to spill over into January now with these last few beers, but for this one we are going to return to Sigtuna Brygghus, who are a completely organic brewery, and we've got one of their winter seasonal beers today. This is the Winter IPA, supposed to be very nice. It says some apricot flavours, grapefruit and things, with a nice kind of quite spicy malt base, so this should be a really quite interesting beer for us to review. I enjoyed the East Coast Pale Ale that I reviewed from these guys, so this one should be a very nice beer for us to try. So anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. The brewery website, the link to my other Sigtuna reviews, and all the usual social media things, the Facebook, the Twitter and the Untappd, so please check out all of those. And to my Swedish viewers, please do let me know some other Swedish breweries that you'd like me to have a look at, and if you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. A lot of interesting Swedish and Danish things coming up for you, along with some other really cool stuff. So anyway, to tell you about Sigtuna Brygghus. So this brewery was founded in 2005 by Peter Force, and he was joined in the early stages by David Meadows and Håkan Lundgren. And the brewery is located in Arlandastad, as I said, which is a little bit to the north of Stockholm, actually very, very close to the airport. But they brewed their first batch of beer in 2006, and in the early days they were producing only around 600 gallons of beer per week. But initially they wanted to brew mainly historical recipes, but more recently they've been brewing the more modern styles of beer, you know, the American kind of craft beer boom styles. But for the first few years, the three main guys were happy hobby brewing, but their beers proved very, very popular, so they upscaled their brewery to meet this demand and hired more staff back in 2009. But in 2013 they passed the 1 million litre beers brewed mark, and now they have 12 employees and a 3,000 litre per brew capacity, which means they can produce over 1 million litres of beer per year. So a very big operation these days. But the brewing team is 4 men strong, and they're further expanding their capacity to meet demand for their planned exports. I think they're going to start exporting in early 2016. So if you do try this beer, do let me know where you're trying it from actually, or any Sigtuna brewers. I'd be interested to hear where they're actually exporting to these days. But the Sigtuna Brygghus is also home to the quite well-known St. Erik's Brewery, which is run by Jessica Heidrich. Very, very nice woman. She seems to enjoy my videos, and they've been a guest brewery at Sigtuna Brygghus since 2010. Their parent company Galatea has invested a lot in the capacity at Sigtuna Brygghus. And Mohawk Brewing Company as well, a very good Swedish gypsy brewery, also brew some of their beers at Sigtuna. But that's your little bit about Sigtuna Brygghus. Just to list some of the other beers you can get from these guys. In the year-round range, you have the East River Lager, the Organic Ale, East Coast Pale Ale, Weizen, and there's also an IPA 4-pack as well. The East Coast Pale Ale is the one I've reviewed for you before, and it's a really nice one. Try it if you like the English-style IPAs. And in their seasonal range, they've got the Christmas Lager, Winter Organic IPA, and Midwinter Blood. And they've also got some kind of special beers that I believe are only available at the tasting room at the brewery too, so you might want to check those out if you do get up there and get the chance. I'll probably go and visit it when I do make it to Stockholm. But anyway, that's your brief little history of the brewery. We'll actually get on to the tasting of the beer now. So this one is a 6% IPA. I couldn't find on the website what the hop and malt profile was in this one. It didn't seem to be listed when I searched for it. But it seems to be, it says it's got apricot flavours in there, so I'd guess there's maybe a little bit of citra hop in there and some grapefruit. Maybe it's got some other American hops too, and it'll probably have some caramel, some cereal and other things put in there with it being a winter beer. So it should be quite nice. As you can see, it's the usual Sigtuna Brygghus artwork on this one, the nice black with the sort of modern things on it there. It says on the side, it's got a little cartoon on the side that of course the Sigtuna Brygghus like to put these little cloud guys, the sort of hipster cloud, on the top of their bottle caps, and there's a little cartoon on the side there. It says on the side, "We love green hops," and it says, "I'm stuck here, buddy." It's a sort of shark fin. I don't know how well you can see that in the light actually, but there's a little cartoon on the side there, and you can see the Sigtuna symbol is down here, the little brew kettle, and there's also the organic mark as well, and that's of course the green one on the back too. So yeah, very nice IPA. It's 6% winter IPA, so this one should be interesting. So let's get it open and we'll get on with the tasting here. You can smell a little bit of the spice off this and some of the fruits as you open it up. But I've really enjoyed the other Sigtuna beer that I tried. It was really quite interesting, so this should be very good. And some of these organic beers that you get in Sweden are actually very high quality. It seems to be a growing market for organic beer, so do give a few of them a try and see what you think of them. They taste a little, I find they taste just as good, but the mouthfeel is a little bit different. The mouthfeel has a bit of a more minerally water and kind of almost slightly chalky feel to it, but these guys are a little bit like that too, I think. Their mouthfeel of the beer is really interesting and very nice. So as you can see, this beer's poured in quite an interesting reddy, kind of copperish colour actually, a dark copper red amber colour. If I put my fingers behind it, you can see there is a good degree of transparency. That beer, while it is a dark red copper, it is quite clear. I can see my computer and my camera through here as I'm filming this one, and there's a solid kind of half finger of a frothy, kind of cream coloured head, I would say. It's not brilliant white, it's definitely a cream coloured head. There's some big bubbles at the bottom of the glass there, but quite a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head. So looks very nice, so we'll give it a smell and see how we get on. That smells really nice actually. It's quite interesting, the malt base is very different. There's a lot of American hop aromas in this one. It's got a nice big sort of floral and grassy hop out there. It actually smells like a quite sweet grassy character that's coming out of this one. And there is a definite element of a red fruit in there, some figs, maybe some raisins, but yeah, there's a definite red fruity ester coming out of this beer. Some candied fruit. It always reminds me of these red heart Haribo sweets that you get. The kind of candied fruit ester you get from some of these beers really reminds me of that. There is a little bit of grapefruit in there, and maybe some more juicy tropical fruits. You can pick out a little bit of a sort of mango-y or apricot thing. As it said, there's apricot in this one on the label there, but I think maybe there's a little bit of mango and apricot too. But very, very nice smelling beer. You can smell a bit of the malt base too. There's a good element of breadiness and some kind of caramel malts. And I want to say there's a good bit of like biscuity and cereal character in there, so quite interesting, but a definite caramel presence, and on top of that, as I say, the nice kind of wet grassy hop in there. A little bit of floral character, maybe even a bit of pine resin coming out of this too, but definitely some kind of tropical fruits, grapefruit, maybe a little bit of mango, passion fruit maybe as well, but probably more a mango apricot character, and some definite red fruity esters too, maybe even some nutty aromas coming out of this too. So just give it a smell before you actually get stuck into it. There's a kind of interesting, very mixed aroma going on in this one, not like an IPA I've come across before right enough, or a winter IPA that I can think of. So do give this one a smell in particular before you get stuck into it, but we're going to do that now. So without further ado then, this is the winter IPA from Sigtuna Brygghus in Arlandastad, just to the north of Stockholm in Sweden. Skål! Merry Christmas! You can really get the organic mouthfeel from this one. That kind of that slightly chalky mouthfeel there, but the flavour really is quite full in this. It's nice. Yeah, there's a nice sweet malt base to this one. There's a lot of bread there. That just blankets the middle of your palate. And as I say, that chalky mouthfeel that you get from these organic beers, slightly minerally, that just blankets the middle of the tongue. You get this kind of big, soft bready character, just goes into the middle of the tongue and spreads right out. On top of that, there's a bit of biscuit sweetener, so there is an element of a kind of cereal character there, just a little bit of dry cereal flavours and some nutty and woody kind of little tints in there mixing in with that. It's quite infused and quite nice. Yeah, there's a good bit of floral and kind of grassy character coming out of this one, maybe even a little bit herbal, I would say, but there's a whole host of things going on in this beer. It's not got the most pungent flavour, but there are various things going on in the palate, so do try and sugar it around your mouth a bit and let your whole palate adjust before you try to dissect the flavour too much. Yeah, if you go right down the middle of the tongue, you'll feel a sweet caramel in the middle of the palate. As I said, that bready character underneath and some biscuity and cereal elements just giving you a little bit of dryness in the middle of the palate around there, and there's a nice woody, almost nutty infused flavour. And if you go out towards the back sides of the palate, there's some earthy hops coming out there. Good grassy and floral character too. You can feel a little bit of dryness in the beer as you move towards the front corners of the palate there. A good floral grassy element, and there is some underlying pine resin to this beer, I would definitely say that. The fruity character is also quite interesting here. There's a definite grapefruit presence. The apricot flavours they were saying in this one, not getting that so much. I would say maybe it's more, to me it comes across as more of a sort of passion fruity flavour. It's mixing quite well with the grapefruit. But the other little quirk to this beer, I think, is a kind of red fruity ester. There's a definite, almost raisin flavour to this one, or kind of plums maybe. But that's mixing in with the grapefruit, and it makes the grapefruit almost that kind of, it's a bit less sour than you normally expect of grapefruit, and a bit more sweet and candied, if that makes sense. Those red fruity esters are definitely in there, and they're kind of playing around with the tropical fruit flavours. As I say, just behind the very front curve of your tongue, you'll feel a little oily bubble there, and there's some nice kind of mixing going together there with the little fruit flavours. Interesting little quirk to the beer. But yeah, quite definitely an interesting one. There's a lot of interesting flavours going on in this, and if you like something that tests your palate, then this one is a bit different, so you will enjoy it in that regard. But in terms of the mouthfeel, mid-body definitely. There's a soft carbonation there. A little bit oily actually, quite an oily beer this. As I said, there's a little bit of that chalky mouthfeel when you first take it in. It smooths out in this one and goes to a more oily mouthfeel as your palate adjusts. But there's a sweet malt base in there, as I said, caramel, but a good bit of body from the bready character and a bit of hoppy dryness around the edge of the tongue too. And there's some nice juicy fruity character coming out of this beer too, particularly towards the front of the tongue. Very nice, this one. I have to admit, I've quite enjoyed this. It's not the most pungent and most flavourful beer, but everything in it blends together really quite well. And if that's the sort of beer you like, you know, if you like a big bready IPA with a little bit of a sort of bready character to it, not more on the sweet side of the malts, but there's a nice quite grassy floral aromatic character there. Again, it's quite subtle, but all the flavours in this beer blend together really well. So it's a good wintered IPA, has a little bit more spice to the malt base in it, so in that regard it's very nice. It does what it's supposed to do. So yeah, I mean, I would recommend this beer if you like an IPA, the nice juicy fruit flavours, particularly red fruits with an IPA and a nice bready malt base. If you like those sort of things, you will enjoy this beer. Not the biggest flavour, as I've said, with an IPA, so it's not like some of these big American West Coast IPAs. It's a bit more subtle than that, but everything goes together in it really well, and it's a nice easy drinkable IPA. What more do you want? It actually has a little bit of an element of an amber ale to it, I would say, so that's probably a good way to sum it up. It has a bit more character of an amber ale in there. The caramel is quite interesting, it has a little bit of toasted character to it, so that's a probably fair assessment of it as well. If you like amber ales, then this is an IPA that I think you will quite enjoy, but it blends together very well and it's quite easy drinking. So yeah, as I said at the start of the video, if you do enjoy this brewery, let me know where you're drinking the beers. I'd be interested to hear your own thoughts on this one if you do happen to have tried it, so don't hesitate to comment below. Really good beer that I've quite enjoyed. The flavours go together very well, like I said, so do go and check out Sigtuna Brygghus, an organic brewery from Arlandastad in Sweden. So yeah, really good beer, do go and check it out. But I thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. As always, let me know your thoughts below, and please go and support the social media things, and if you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and there's a couple more winter beers for you to come, but in the meantime, go and check out Sigtuna Brygghus in Arlandastad near Stockholm in Sweden. Slange just now.